Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Destin. I'm here with...
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Dorian.
And we're here to talk about the latest in video game news this week, or games we've played, or maybe old school games. A lot of retro gaming, very popular nowadays.
I still have a lot to catch up on. I haven't played any old games in a minute, but I have been playing...
What do you consider an
old
game?
What would I consider an old game? No,
Like, what is considered to me an old game is like NES, like...
For me, I guess old games would just be like, I guess any game I haven't played.
Like, okay.
Like, before I've gotten the...
Is PlayStation 1 an old game?
I would consider that I played some games on the PlayStation 1, but I would consider, like, if there's a game on the PlayStation 1 I haven't played, I would consider that an old game. Like,
okay.
That's like... that's like my childhood, like 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a long time ago.
5,
like,
6, 7 for me is like Atari.
That's like ancient for me. I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know how people play games today. Like, can even fathom the Atari graphics.
Going backwards.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it couldn't be me.
It's one joystick and one button, and the graphics. I mean, the pixel sizes are like this big, like on the screen.
That should be a thing where one of us or somebody in the office we like play every system but backwards and then just like judge it or something like that.
Yeah, I'd be
down. I think we like tease like a millennials must watch, but for like the video game version.
I mean, I played an emulator version of that adventure game, but that was only because of the whole Ready Player One thing when that came out. So. But other than that, I hadn't touched it in a while. I don't do a lot of retro gaming. I mean, I'm kind of interested in this mini Genesis. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
It came out this today or tomorrow or whatever.
Shit.
Yeah. It's basically a miniature. They've been making those mini,
like the light versions.
They've been making those mini SNESs, mini NESs, where they pack in a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. So there's like a Genesis version that has like Sonic the Hedgehog on there, Streets of Rage, Street Fighter's on there. I mean, I thought about picking it up. It's about $80.
Yeah, it says it's $79 at Target.
Yeah, $80. I wish it came with the 6-button controller. It comes with the regular 3-button. Because if you're gonna play Street Fighter, you need that 6-button control. That was like the one advantage that Genesis had over Super Nintendo. Where Super Nintendo they had Street Fighter as well, but I don't know if you ever remember the SNES. Mm-mm. The buttons just aren't, they're not 3 on top. You know how, Street Fighter is like, top 3 buttons are like, small punch, medium punch, large punch. Mm-hmm. And then small kick, medium kick, large kick.
So how are we going to do this one?
So SNES, the controller just, unless you bought a specific controller where the Genesis had that 6-button controller. So, I don't know. I may get it. I mean, $80, it's not a bad price for 40 games. It's just...
Yeah, for 40. Yeah, that's because $80 is like one game by it. Like nowadays, that's one game plus maybe like some bonus content. Like if you're getting the ultimate package, but even still, that's pushing it.
But to be honest, I'd probably pay about under 10 games on there. Probably like 5 to 7 games on there that I actually really would play. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe when it gets down to like $50 eventually,
I might get it. Or hey. If you want to send us one, guys, we'll review it. But I'll wait till the price gets down a little bit.
Yeah, because then I got to buy the other 6-button controllers, like I mentioned. Those are $20. So if you buy 2 of those, the controllers I'm talking about
for the mini Genesis or just in general.
Well, it's like old Genesis controllers, and they have a USB connection, which I assume is for the mini Genesis. Maybe you can put it into your computer or whatnot, but those are $20, right? So if you buy 2 of them, that's $40. That's half the price of your mini Genesis.
That's like $120 for like a whole. No, I'm all right on that.
So I wish they at least gave you one of those, and then you buy
the other one. Yeah,
buy the other one, but they give you one of those regular ones. Anyways, so talking about what's going on in video games this week. So people who are playing Red Dead Online, I actually haven't played it in a while. Mm-hmm. I know our boss, Mark Fernandez, he's been playing it, possing up with some of his friends. And apparently people have been finding random zombies throughout the game. And some people think it's like a glitch, which I don't think so. If you look at the graphic, like the picture of the zombies, like, this is not a...
And if it's more than one person, it's definitely not like this is something they're like just trying to slowly sprinkle out. Like if maybe it's just one person like accidental, like you see it once, you never see it again, maybe it's a glitch. But if multiple people are reporting this
in different areas,
they wouldn't let that like just slide out of the blue.
Yeah. So there's kind of two ways you can kind of take it. One, that they are doing this zombie themes. We have Halloween coming up soon in about a month. And there's going to be some sort of zombie Halloween event where, like, maybe Red Dead Online for 1 week will have tons and tons of zombies to fight. The other, which I'm kind of hoping more for, is that this is a tease for Undead Nightmare 2, which would be a sequel to Undead Nightmare 1, which was, like, the very popular DLC that came out after Red Dead, the first game came out.
Okay.
Which is... pretty cool. It was like a whole storyline plus like fighting zombies and stuff. So I'm kind of down. Look, when I first finished Red Dead on Red Dead 2, me and Mark did a whole spoiler review for that. If you guys want to check it out, we both like said this thing's a masterpiece. We loved it. One of our best games ever. However, jumping into online, I was like, I just played 80 hours of story.
Right.
And they kind of give you a little more story on the online part. And I was like, man, I just want to hop on the online. I'm far away from it now where, like, I don't mind if they have Undead Nightmare 2 with a storyline and one. I'm like ready to have more now.
You're taking your break.
Exactly.
You're like intermission. Now you're ready for another. Okay, yeah, I feel you.
I've taken enough of a break that single player is cool. I'm all down for it. I hope that's the case. I mean, sure, zombie Halloween themed event would be cool, but that's a week and whatever. Like, I want something a little more significant. I think a lot of people think so, and I do think, why go through all this trouble?
Right. Maybe they can just release the actual expansion of it during the Halloween week and not have to just say, hey, here's our themed event. Just release it during Halloween week. Everybody will be like, all right.
Yeah, or do both. Do a little zombie theme for that week of Halloween. Go, by the way, this DLC is ready. Like, drop it on it. Like Beyonce drops albums.
Just out of the, or like make it. Yeah. So like, for example, you have a little zombie theme for Halloween week, and then once once everybody finishes that, like let's say November 1st, hey, here's like the Undead expansion 2. Now hop on that. Just keep riding that zombie Halloween wave, milk as much as you can.
Yeah. So, and I don't mind paying for stuff like that. It's not a.
I still have to finish the game first.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long game. I've heard many people who've played it and haven't finished it just because even Josh said that he hadn't finished it yet, and and you know how many games that guy plays. Yeah. That guy plays more games than you and me combined.
A lot more. Like that's pretty much his life when he's not when he's not doing this or like in school.
Yeah. So, and he didn't even finish it. I mean, I finished it. I mentioned this on the last episode. I would have taken more time with it had we not had done that spoiler review. I would have but man, you gotta even like binge playing that game, you don't get any, you know what I mean?
No,
like what's 2 hours? Let's say you play for 4 hours. What's 4 hours in an 80?
That's like a half. Like
you gotta do that. You gotta do that 20 times. You gotta do that 20 times. Anyways, but luckily I did love my experience. So. Looking forward to more news on that, and hopefully that's the case. Second news story, we got Fortnite leaks. It's not like actually official, but the leaks are showing that there's going to be some Batman weapons and skins and whatnot for Batman Day, which is coming up on September 21st, which is very, very soon. There's like an explosive batarang. People are hoping there's going to be like a bat cape, grapnel gun, all that cool stuff. Do these things, I know they had like Avengers one. Like,
they had Avengers, a John Wick. They kind of tied into like any type of movie or pop culture event because they had like a Borderlands one too I saw, but they keep, this might be the one to have me come back and just like.
Did you go back for the Avengers?
No, I did not. And it's simply just because I don't like playing games that I'm bad at. Like, if I'm going to put more time into it, like Apex.
I'm definitely better at Apex
than
I am.
I can invest more time into that because, like, sometimes I'll go on a cold streak sometimes, but there's always, I feel like there's a better chance of me actually winning. I've won about 10, actual championship rounds from that game. Yeah. Even though, I might have not done the most work on the team, but we still won, so that's all that matters. But with Fortnite, and I think your complaint about it is, it's just once you get the building stuff involved, you take me out of it, and I'm just trash in general. So
I become a liability more so than I already am, where I get hit and then someone's got to go build crap around me so I don't die.
And I've been wanting to with this, I might go back, but Apex is also doing a good job of keeping it fresh and introducing new things. Now they have this I can't remember the actual what it's called, but it's where you can only use shotguns and rifles and you only have bare minimum shields. That one I can actually really kill him because it's I think my go-to weapon for Apex is the Peacekeeper, so I usually try to get a shotgun and most of the time. So I think that's why I'm loving Apex more than Fortnite. But you throwing Batman on Fortnite.
They had a team up with Borderlands to celebrate the launch of that game. Have you played it yet?
I have played. I played a little bit of it. I'm loving it so far.
Okay.
It's between me. Now my rotation is Gears, Apex. I mean, not Gears, Borderlands 3, Gears, Borderlands 3. But I'm loving it so far. The gameplay, the story itself, the mechanics. Let me turn off my. But just in general, I'm really enjoying this game. And this is me. I've played both the Borderlands and the Borderlands prequel, but I'm still haven't finished them both completely yet. But from jumping off those two games, and it didn't feel because I know some people have been waiting this has been 10 years, 7 or 8 years. So it kind of just for me felt like a continuation from the other games, but just enhanced graphics and stuff like that. So I kind of was already back in it, familiar with the game and the gameplay and stuff, and then just going into the Borderlands 3, I'm having a blast so far. But
do you have some of the complaints that Caboose has? Caboose says the game itself is a lot of fun and great. He just said some of the menu systems are a little.
When what was his complaint about the menu? When you're trying to upgrade?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He was every time he upgrade, he's I gotta go through this damn menu.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the part. I guess if I have a complaint, that's probably one of my complaints. Is trying to just not just open up the menu, but when you're trying to customize or equip a different weapon or something like that. It did get a little bit confusing for me when I was testing it out so far. But that's probably one of my only complaints because I haven't been playing it as much because I've been trying to actually go through the campaign and stuff for Gears 5, and I've been playing a lot.
How's that been going?
I love this is me from I haven't played any of the other Gears.
Yeah, because you've always been PS.
Yeah, this is my first experience with Gears or anything like that, and I am hooked. That's why I haven't been able to do more Borderlands because I would honestly just switch back to Gears 5. Either if I'm not doing the campaign, I'm doing the team deathmatch type of thing. And
have you played Escape or Horde?
No, I haven't done the Hordes yet. Okay. I've just been doing the team deathmatch and the actual campaign story. And I feel like a fool for not having been playing these Gears games before.
Well, that transitions into our next topic, which is Gears 5. It's the big first party launch for the Xbox since Halo 4, which Halo 4 is a while ago. And, we had done a previous episode talking about has Gears taken over as the kind of the flagship first-party franchise for Microsoft/Xbox. And I think my answer was temporarily it has. We'll see when the next Xbox comes out and you have Halo Infinite out, how big of a splash. Because if it makes, Halo 5 wasn't as, when it came out, it wasn't as big a deal as previous Halos. Halo 1 was, blue, people didn't, it was a new franchise, but once people started playing, that thing sold Xboxes. The first Xbox, survived basically because of how good Halo was. Everyone was highly anticipating the second one. Third one is actually my favorite one. And then 4, I think, was the last time we got a lot of hoopla and buzz and whatnot. And 5 just passed by without, I mean, some people really like it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it just didn't get the numbers that they were expecting from a Halo game. And now you have Gears 5, where Gears has always been kind of like, if Halo's like 1A, Gears has been like 1B or something like that, you know? And I think this is like the first time that Gears has kind of overshadowed Halo right now. And it looks like, you know, you as someone that's brand new to the franchise is like loving it.
Yeah, and I think it was smart because I got it through a code, but you're also able to get it on Game Pass, which I think that in the article itself factored into why it might have been the biggest since Halo, because now a lot more people have access to it that weren't, like, for me personally, like if I didn't get the code, I probably would have downloaded it on Game Pass. But if I had to like actually pay for it, I probably would have been like, I'm not familiar with it. I haven't played the other ones, but now going
now
I want to go back and play the rest of them.
Well, because they're on Game Pass too.
Yeah, so now I can just jump right in and like once I finish this one. But I think that was a smart move to make it accessible on Game Pass because like a lot of people have Game Pass now.
I remember when we went to the Xbox press conference. Yeah. And I saw that picture of Gears 5 and I was like, dude, there's a Game Pass logo on it. And I was like, they're gonna launch Gears 5 on Game Pass, you know, the day it comes out.
So do you think with once the Scarlet is released and the new Halo, do you think they have to put Halo on Game Pass, or do you think they'll just sell it like it is in digital and hard copy, or do you think they'll put it on?
That's tough. I think they will, because I think they want to get this subscription base up. That's why that whole thing with the Ultimate Game Pass, where it's like, oh, you can do console and PC for, you know, basically the same price.
And I think they have this new membership. I signed up for it for a bit. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but it's like the first 2 months of your Game Pass. Or you're only paying like $1, $1 or $2 for the first 2 months, and then it goes. So I'm doing that one right now until the thing runs out, and then I got to pay full price again.
What is it again?
It's like the first 2 months you're just paying $2.
Yeah. But what's the regular price?
It's $12.99.
Let me tell you.
I believe it's either $12.99 or $14.99 a month.
I mean, I mentioned before, like, if I had the time that I used to have. Dude, I'd be all over this thing. I'd be downloading, playing game. Like I can't believe the type of stuff adult me has done in the last. Like, I have games that I've gotten, like good games, that just sitting there, because I just don't have the time. And Game Plus is something like, if I was back in my teenage or even college years, and this thing existed. Game Pass, I'd be, dude, 24/7. I'd be like just playing these games, and I'm like, what? I don't have to pay X amount of $, like $14 or $15 a month, and I can just play. Let me see. Let me look at the price here. Yeah, $14.99.
And the thing about it is, they're not like bad games or like like. And I'm not trying to dog on like the PlayStation Store or anything, but they like when they're giving away like free games or whatever for part of your PlayStation membership, they're either games that have been out for like a year or so, or they were already cheap like from the initial release. So they're like, hey, here's not necessarily like the leftovers, but here's like, because there will be some fire games on there sometimes, but I feel like the majority of them are just like afterthoughts or like stuff that they already knew they kind of like weren't going to be like pushing hard for promotion wise or anything like that. But with Xbox, like for Gears 5, but I feel like they put some like actual fire like games I would definitely like want to dive more into, which I kind of have already started, but definitely like I think if I had to compare.
Are you gonna go back to like Gears 1?
I don't know, because I've heard. I don't know.
Because Gears 1 is like on, I think the original Xbox, is it? I think, yeah.
This is what we were talking about earlier, like going from like the perfect form, like in working backwards.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just quality wise, but
I heard that I've played Gears, the first one, I think the third one. I heard this one, the environments are much more expansive. Like they're just
in 5.
Yeah, like it's just much bigger, and like instead of like the original Gears of War was like all like labyrinths and indoors and like everything kind of looked very similar.
Okay.
And now
this one feels just more, or I can't compare it to the other ones, but this one feels like a lot. It's
well,
open.
I saw an outside, like a whole thing, like snow area.
Yeah, it took me a minute to learn on the snow area in particular. Like if you're on the actual ice land, people can like shoot down at the ice and like kill you, and like you like freeze to death or stuff like that. So it took me a minute to understand what was going on with that, but I figured it out. But
I heard also Borderlands 3 is like that, where they've instead of just being on Pandora, you can go to different worlds, and they have different looks and whatever. So yeah, the first Gears of War was actually on the 360 in 2006. So it's definitely older than Halo. I thought it came at the end of the original Xbox cycle, but no, it's the beginning of the 360 cycle. And they've already had like, I know this is Gears 5, but they've actually had this is actually the 6th game. They had like a prequel called Gears of War Judgment that happened between Gears of War 3 and 4. So yeah, so I'm wondering how far back you will go. Let me take a look. Gears. How do you like the story with Gears? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing I compare it to like how when I used to do like the modern war, like the actual Call of Duty like campaigns, like I'm paying attention to a lot of it, but it's just like you're more just focused on the actual like the fighting of it. I'm not necessarily like I'm into it, but I'm more just into it for the once we get out of the jump cutscenes and stuff like that. Let me actually like fight and do the missions that you assign me to. Okay. But I'm loving it so far.
Cool. Yeah, I think they had 4 Gears games on the Xbox 360, and then Gears 4 was on Xbox One. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a good sign for Gears, just having that much kind of hype behind it. It's definitely more than I've heard before. I mean, it's always been a well-loved game, but this one kind of.
And I wonder how the like for me like how this is going to affect like us going back to the previous games for other people in my spot that haven't necessarily played the rest. And I'll be interested to see if they're like keeping like analytics on the previous games to see how if they spike on Game Pass.
I could see you go back to Gears 4 just because it's still on Xbox One and it's probably on Game Pass. You know what I mean? So it's not gonna cost you any more than
just
whatever
more
you're
time.
paying. Yeah. If you like Gears 5 that much,
I do. It's a good game.
Are you playing co-op at all, or are you just going single player?
You know I don't have friends, Dennis.
Sure, Dorian. Sure. All right. Next up, this one's very interesting. E3, they're trying to kind of figure out how to make the conference a bit more, I don't know, fun, I guess, for people.
That's
just because the issue right now is you go there and then they liken it to Disneyland. You go there and then you see a lot of cool stuff you want to do, and then you sit in a line.
Or they don't even have you can't even play it.
Yeah. You sit in a line for over an hour, and then you play it, and then maybe one whole day you've played like 3 games or something like that. So what they're talking about is they want to turn it into a fan, media, and influencer festival that would have a Qtainment, which is a Disney-style fast pass style system. So last year, I went with my girlfriend to Disneyland, and this was my first time. It was her first time going to Disneyland. I think she had been to Disney World before. Her first time at Disneyland. I hadn't been there in like almost 20 years. So my first time actually using the Fast Pass, man, it's a big difference.
Hell yeah, it is.
It is, especially the mobile one, because I was like, I did like, I want to say like 8 rides or something like that. I want to say anywhere.
You went to Disneyland or Disney World?
Disneyland.
Is that the one? Which one's in Florida? That's Disney.
That's World.
Okay.
Land is the one here.
Okay.
So it made a huge difference because you're not waiting in line anymore. Well, you are, but it's like so short. It's like just 10, 15 minutes tops.
In and out. Like I was like, cause I went to Disney World for the first time and I used it. I had no like comparison because I've never been. So when I just used it, I was like, they were like, you have this amount of Fast Pass. I was like, all right, what's this about? And then I used the app, walked up to it, showed them, and I was like, oh, I'm already like I'm already right here. So if they can implement something like that with E3, I think that would be very smart. But I don't know. I'm still kind of salty about that the whole E3 because some of my personal friends and some of my Geeks of Color people, like their information got put out. So still kind of salty about all that. But I'll still go back because I love the video games.
Yeah. So they're also talking about focusing more on influencers and paid celebrity deals and stuff like that. We can hear dogs like in the background. But yeah, it's just it's.
And I kind of think that's the smarter way to do it because I remember back 2 E3s ago when Fortnite had that battle. I don't know if they had it again this year. They might have, but they had like the pro-am, the celebrities versus like actual esports Fortnite people. And that was at the. I can't remember what Coliseum was at the soccer field or whatever, but that felt like an actual like influencer type event under the E3 umbrella, which I thought was perfect. And then I know Ubisoft tried to do something similar to that, but it was like kind of wrapped into their presentation for E3. It was like the presentation, and then they went right into them playing. I think it was it Rainbow. I can't remember what game they were playing.
Rainbow Six?
Yeah, I think it was Rainbow Six.
Or Ghost Recon.
Or I can't remember, but it was them, like they did like a influencer type event and had T-Pain play a video game. But I think that kind of just got underwhelmed by the underwhelming presentation overall. But that was something they tried to do. But if they would do more stuff like that outside of just like wrapping it into a specific like presentation or something, I think that would be smart to like incorporate more celeb versus like actual paid influencers, and they don't even have to be like game influencers. They can just be general YouTubers. They might be shitty at the game, but if they have a huge following, they'll be bringing in fans and stuff like that. So I think they should start looking more into that overall, not just for their biggest games.
I mean, for that stuff, it's a hit and miss thing. But I think for the lining up, doing a fast pass system is great because then you can essentially you're lined up, but you can go do other stuff and then come back when you're actually ready. Like I said, Disneyland made like instead of going on 3-4 rides that you normally do without a fast pass,
hit all of them up.
I did like double the amount, you know what I mean? So
the only thing I'm worried about is just like if they are trying to make this more of a influencer fan type of thing as like for those particular events. I know I saw in the article like maybe like having like NBA players and doing like having them play a NBA game is like how do you qualify who gets to sit and watch that? Like what's the process for that without like making sure it's fair for everybody rather than like skewing it just for if we're trying to make more noise about it, because it says in this article it's like trying to create buzz, trying to create that fear of missing out. So if you're trying to do that, then you're only going to want to let influencers with a lot of credibility and following to see that NBA event or whatever. So it's like why are we not allowing like the regular fans to also do that? But this is just me speaking hypothetically because this is a year out, so maybe they'll be able to like work it out where it's fair for everybody.
Yeah. All right. Next thing up was pretty kind of interesting. We've been talking about the Steam versus Epic Store and exclusivity and all that stuff. Rockstar has released their own PC launcher, and they're giving a free copy of Grand Theft Auto on San Andreas. So what's interesting to that is, one, people are saying, okay, they're going to launch Red Dead 2 on the PC. So it never was they never had a PC version for the first game, but they're thinking, people don't know, actually, the original like Grand Theft Auto, not 3, but before 3 was a top-down game, and it was like people played on the PC, not on their consoles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, anyways, people are like, "Oh, are they going to create their own store?" And then 2, Red Dead 2, are they going to have that for the PC? I think they should. I mean, if for some reason, I'm not this type of person, but if for some reason some person's like diehard PC games only, they refuse to play console games and they haven't played Red Dead 2, this gives them the opportunity to play it on there.
That's like me when I was with PS4 and then switched over. Anyway, yeah.
But the more interesting thing is this games launcher thing, and whether or not are they just doing this for their own games because they know they have diehard fans that will, instead of, let's say, putting in the Steam store and them collecting 30% of what something in Red Dead 2 on PC would sell is a lot of money. I mean, Epic Game Store is far less with 12%, but even still, maybe Rockstar's not comfortable with those margins and thinks, well, you know what? If I just make my own launcher, people can buy it there.
And they get to keep all the profits.
Yeah. And so, one, are they doing this just for their game so that they don't have to give away the profits? Or two, do they want to make it something bigger than, you know what I mean? Like, let's say there's a Rockstar Stores launcher and other games that not just they made are going to be on there as well.
Either way, that would be interesting. I'd definitely like to see them take this route and try to create their own launcher because, like we said, they have the fan base for it. I'm just curious to see would this inspire other companies, other big publishing companies to start doing their own.
Dude, this is all because
we're seeing it.
Netflix streaming services right now, man. I mean, yeah, Netflix came out first. Everyone laughed at them. They became big. Then Amazon Prime, Hulu, and now like everyone in their mom has a streaming service.
So I don't know if this is going to start inspiring the wave of video game launchers for each publication. Because I don't know. Because I understand their reasoning. Like I wouldn't want if I have enough solid fan base that I could sell this game on my own in my own launcher. I wouldn't want to have to take it to somewhere where they're going to take 30% of it and taking money away from the employees and the staff and the workers. So if I can take 100% of the profit and put that back into the company, then why wouldn't I? So if they do it correctly, I would definitely love to see this, and especially how you said if they are willing, if down the road if they're willing to sell other people's games, maybe only take 5% of the profits from other people's video games rather than 10 or something like that. I think this could start a wave of streaming launchers for video games.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't get too crazy, and then
because my wallet is already trying to decide on what streaming service I have to cut back on.
Yeah, I mean the good thing is with these launchers, you're not paying for them. That's why I always argued against these people who go nuts like, oh my God, it's a Epic Games exclusive. It's like, okay, man, it's just another launcher that's free, Now, if you had to pay for it, that's a different story. Much like these streaming services where it's like there's so many. Eventually, some of these streaming services are going to fail, and they're going to have to be consolidated. I mean, then they just announced that NBC one, right? The Peacock Network. You got that one.
Taking off Parks and Rec, taking off The Office.
Yeah, and then... who just like acquired Big Bang Theory?
Who?
I forgot which streaming service did, but someone paid like a ton of money for it. Like so.
And Seinfeld, I don't know. They're willing to spend that much on Seinfeld. Nobody. Personally,
Seinfeld's awesome, man.
I'm not checking for Seinfeld, nor have I. I've watched a couple episodes.
The only problem with that is like it's stuff that you're seeing like on rerun. You know what I mean? So, it's interesting because people are paying tons of money. Like I think Friends was like
like
500
I don't
million.
Get it.
Seinfeld,
put that money towards something else. Nobody's watching that. Nobody's watching those shows that hard where you need to spend $5 billion or $5 million.
I wonder how long those are for, and it's just how I don't know because because I'm different because I like own a lot of these shows like on DVD or whatever.
Yeah,
so
I need to do that, especially with Parks and Rec. Like you can buy them on physical set on Amazon or something like $29.
I don't really need the streaming service for that. It's more convenient, sure, but I don't need it for that purpose. Where new shows, for example, I just binge watched Mindhunter and I'm watching Dark Crystal on Netflix. I know. Marvelous Miss Maisel Season 3 is going to come out on Amazon Prime in December. The Crown, which I watch on Netflix, is coming up. You know what I mean? So these are new shows coming out that I can't watch anywhere else. I can't buy the DVDs anywhere.
That's where Netflix is. That's where I'm always gonna, even though they've taken off Parks and Rec, like that was a big blow. Like I was ready to cancel, but they have like one or two. They're always gonna have like one or two shows like I'm currently watching or I need to like I'm looking out for like Umbrella
Stranger
Academy.
Things.
I could go without Stranger.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good. I love that show, but I wouldn't be hurt like if I cancel my subscription. But like Umbrella Academy is one of them. Like I'm looking forward to the next season. What like I guess Umbrella Academy is really the only.
I mean, all the Marvel Netflix shows are gone.
Yeah. So it's Netflix is becoming harder and harder for me to keep, but Umbrella Academy is like the one thing I will like stay for. Maybe I can just cancel it and then whenever it comes back, I'll just reinstate it because I don't know because I feel like I find myself more on HBO.
I do that for my sister for because we share my Amazon Prime account and she watches Power, but I only turn on Stars.
Oh, like the subscription
when Power is about to go on. So I currently have it on. She's watching it or whatever.
And then when the finale is off, you're gonna just cancel it.
Yeah, and then turn it back on when it's. I do that myself with CBS All Access because I'm like okay, which might change because now they're gonna have the Picard show, but like I get it for Star Trek Discovery. Right now, there's no new Star Trek content on there. So I have it off, but I'm going to turn it back on once Discovery Season 3 comes back. Then they're going to have the Picard show, plus they're going to have that cartoon. Then that might be something I am keeping all year round. Who knows? But I just hope they all consolidate. Less so. Look, I don't want 50 launchers on my PC to play different games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, 2 or 3 is not that big a deal. Plus, like I said, it's free.
Right, unless it's a game you want to buy, but you're making that decision yourself. You're not trying to like sell your soul or buy a whole launcher or whatever. So yeah I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And last thing we've got here, GameStop. Apparently, we talked about kind of their financial troubles, closing down a bunch of stores and trying to. So apparently, they're trying to redesign the look of their stores because let's be frank. The GameStop's kind of janky. You go in there, things are kind of thrown.
You got a big box of used games like laying all over the place.
Like if you go to Ross, right? When you go to Ross,
that's a good comparison.
Shit's like all over the place. There's no, you go to the men's section to get like whatever, and like there's like women's clothes. You know what I mean? It's a big man.
The Ross is GameStop is the Ross of the video game. That's a good comparison.
So you go there, right? And then everything's all over the place. So apparently they've been kind of testing out some of these other stores. There's a store in Oklahoma where this video is from where they showed this new kind of look to it. Now, it isn't like 100% like totally like fancy. It's kind of like in between, right? It's like trying to be kind of like the Amazon store. Have you been to any of the Amazon stores?
I have not.
So they have Amazon stores now. Where it's nice and new. They got a lot of wood paneling there. It's clean. So they're trying to go this route with it. I noticed in this video they had like a back area that actually had like old school televisions, and I was like, why do they have old school televisions? And then I noticed, because they have old school game systems plugged into them that you can't plug into new TVs. So I'm wondering if they decided to allow people to come and play these retro games for free, I would assume, and just to get them in the door, right?
Right.
To make it more like Apple when they were the first kind of technology company to like make a store, and then later Microsoft copied them. It was all about like those stores aren't even really about. I mean, they do sell stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not the purpose of their store. The store is for you to look at the merchandise and get an idea of what you want to buy and what it just gives you more motivation or incentive to buy their product.
Yeah, and I think if they're allowing people to like actually chill there, I think that'd be maybe you like set a time limit or something. But yeah, having like an actual hub for people just to make it feel more like a lounge type thing experience rather than, hey, I'm just going here to buy a video game. I think that's a smarter move because everybody nowadays we all have the access to buy these games, even probably sometimes for cheaper online. So it's like if you're going to make this, if you switch it and make it more feel like an environment, a welcoming for gamers instead of just trying to push content on them, I think that's a smart way to go. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I walk past a GameStop, usually I'll like poke my head in or something, but I'm not gonna like stay in there for a minute. Especially, you might probably not buy a game in there, but if I get a redesign, I see like old school, like if I see a PS1 in there, I can actually play or something. Yeah, I'll go in there and hang out for a bit. So I think this might be the better move. Maybe trying to convert more into like a lounge type thing rather than trying to actually sell games.
Yeah, I mean that was something like Meltdown Comics used to do. They had a little back area. They had comedy in there. They had a lot of like guests come in, do signings. You have some comic book stores I've been to that don't have like tables in the back that people play Magic the Gathering on. You know what I mean? They're just trying to create a sense of community for people to come. Yeah,
like
and show up,
create like have events and stuff like the Magic Gathering, like stuff like that. I think that's the right move for them rather than.
I just don't know. I just know it's going to be too late. You know?
You think it's going to be too late?
I don't know. I mean, it's possible because remember you have to turn around. GameStop's not big enough where they have like commercials on television or whatnot, and you know, and even as much as we love games and how big games are, they aren't in the main, like people aren't. We're talking about games. It's big online, but like when you watch news, you don't see like too much stuff unless it's controversial stuff about like a game, where like you'll see like news will talk about the new iPhone that's coming out. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So. I just don't know how much this is going to affect their branding because remember, it's people's in their heads have what I have, right? The it's like a Ross, right?
Right,
like,
basically.
That's what they have in their head. And in order to change that, I just don't know if it's too late and how they're going to get that message across. Like, hey, it's a new cool place to hang out and it's clean and whatnot.
If I were them, I would use whatever little money they have left. Reach out to Ninja and be like, "Hey, come play the game, whatever game you want, at GameStop, and have the environment in the background never showing off. Like he could be like playing while people are like walking around buying video games or something. I'd use whatever money they have left and just start reaching out to the biggest influencers and whatever money they haven't spent on re-innovating all of them, put that towards influencers coming to play the games at their stops." And just hope it goes well.
I think they should gear towards gaming merchandise. I think they should go towards like whether it's they already have like Funko Pops there, but like even more so like with other figures that are in T-shirts and just
like they can start like Hot Topic.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
Like but more.
I mean, still have games there, but turn it more into that kind of specialty shop where people will go there to buy. You know,
random stuff rather than actual.
Let's say
games.
There's an exclusive, I don't know, Halo T-shirt that you would only buy at GameStop. Well, then you got to go in there and buy it, and maybe you'll see something else you want to buy there as well. So, all right. I think that's it for this episode, the Cloud Games podcast. So you seem pretty busy playing. Like, what? How many games are you playing? I'm finishing Control right now.
I'm switching between Borderlands 3 and Gears 5, and then occasionally, just so I'm hitting the daily challenges for Apex. I'll play that a little bit every day just to make sure I'm hitting those challenges. That's like my workout is making sure I hit one of those challenges a day, just hitting the goal. But it's fun though. It keeps me active for Apex. But for Gears 5, I think the thing I like the most about it is I've played like Call of Duty and all these, but I've never like it feels like the mobility with these type of characters and the movement and like how you have to dodge and how you hide behind walls and all that. The play mechanics for that is just something I haven't really experienced before. So I'm really like, that's why I think I'm going back to Gears 5 more than playing Borderlands 3. But I do love Borderlands 3 so far. But this weekend I plan on actually shifting it and making Borderlands 3 more of the focus.
Yeah, I'm trying to see this week. Not a ton of huge games coming out. I think up on the horizon, what we got? There's a Rage 2 DLC. Yeah, it's just not much. I mean, FIFA 20. October, some more DLC for Destiny. Oh, Breakpoint's coming out in October. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The Overwatch Legendary Edition's coming to Switch October 15th.
I don't have a Nintendo Switch. Maybe I'll have one by then.
They're gonna have The Witcher on the Switch as well, complete edition on the Switch on October 15th. Man, Switch is getting some pretty cool games up on there. Apex Legends, they're gonna have some.
On the Switch?
No.
Oh, I was about, all right,
no. Yeah. You'll get a Switch right now. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, October 25th. Outer Worlds, October 25th. So they'll have Resident Evil 5 and 6 on the Switch. Okay. Yeah, so I think it looks like next month it's going to have some bigger games come out. So. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the Collider Games podcast. Dorian, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dorian Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec is better than The Office. Make sure to binge all 6 seasons before it goes off of Netflix, and then go find me on Instagram at Dorian Parks. You can find me right here on Collider Games.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Subscribe to the Collider Factory podcast feed, where you can find us here every single week. And so until next time, see you guys later.